Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗽𝗏𝗏 channel. I'm your host Sree. This is a special transmission. We are taking a look at a spreading crime, all using the same kind of template. What we are going to highlight is first what has been caught so far in Minnesota, but we also have updates from other states, and we are going to be sharing that also. So this is something that the US taxpayer is paying through his or her nose, and it's important that every one of us understand how this scam is being done. And the interesting part is so far, the names of politicians has stayed out of it. I'm going to give you a small infographic that talks about the specific Minnesota scam, where many people have been already sentenced to prison, and more names are emerging. At the same time, we're also going to tell you how much money has been recovered of the 250 million fraud. So please like this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. I'm just going to add that infographic now. Here we go. So the $250 million fraud. Feeding Our Future was the name of the program. What happened? There are 4 steps here: the setup, the lie, the theft, and then finally the spend. After you steal it, where did you spend it? So these are 4 steps involved here. The setup was scammers created fake non-profits. They set up dozens of shell companies claiming to be food distribution sites for children. So shell companies claiming to be food distribution sites for children. Second, this is the lie. They submitted false rosters. These children didn't exist at all. Using random names, sometimes from incorrect age groups, they claim to feed thousands of kids daily. Third, the theft. The government reimbursed them over $250 million flowed from pandemic relief funds into these private accounts. This happened in the first term of Trump, by the way, and then it got continued under Biden. Then the spend. The money was used for luxury goods, Porsches, jewelry, real estate, lakeside villas, and it was sent overseas. To which countries? Kenya, Turkey, and it's still evolving. So how much of the 250 million has been so far recovered? Well, the problem is the recovery is hard. There are lots of overseas transfers. Money has been moved to foreign banks, properties, and it is legally difficult to seize, even for the United States. Vanishing assets, millions spent on luxury travel and services. You cannot catch that. Somebody used this money to fly from place A to place B in the utmost luxury, spent thousands and thousands of dollars, came back. What are you going to do with that? How can you recover? That is legal spending. I mean, the hotel, the airline is not going to reimburse you that money. So third, complex laundering. Layers of shell companies hide the money trail. You think somebody from limited means is going to do all that? Well, there is more than what meets the eye. What are the numbers? $250 million total stolen. See, this is where it's getting interesting. Some are claiming the amount is far more. The amount is closer to $1 billion. And not just the local congresswoman, Ilhan Omar. Now mentioning of other names are also happening, and you need to go and look at the reference links that we have provided to get the name, because these are all speculation at this point of time. Nobody has caught any politician with her or his hand in the cookie jar. But people are wondering, can a scam of this level, particularly considering only 75 million has been recovered? So where is the remaining 175 million? Who has stashed it? Where? That is the question. Close to 70 plus defendants have been already charged, and so far 0 politicians have been charged. So this is the problem with the Minnesota state fraud, Feeding Our Future. Now let's take a look at another state, which is Ohio. I'm going to stop this one. Let's take a look at another state, Ohio. What is happening in Ohio? Well, Somali-run fraud scheme in Ohio. Electronic benefits transfer card. These are like debit cards, okay? Debit cards. Funnel taxpayer money straight into family-owned restaurants. So this is the way they are doing it. And The same exact thing has been found in Minnesota also. What happens is, this was caught in Columbus, Ohio. By the way, Vivek Ramaswamy is running for the governor of Ohio, and you can see the cudgels out now to try and smear him of Hindu nationalism and all sorts of stuff. We'll deal with that separately. Yesterday I talked about this, and that's also going on. But the reason I'm saying this is Ohio is also right in the middle of this kind of a scam. And I'll tell you this scam, guys. I mean, this is something mind-boggling. What happens is, Somali families own a restaurant, okay? And then there is a grocery store right next door. And sometimes it's even literally attached. And usually there will be a daycare or home health business, something to do with health. The wives and kids get loaded EBT card. That means there is a preloaded amount given to you, electronic benefit transfers. This is usually like $1,000, $2,000. I've heard stories where people are mentioning $7,500 per individual per month. Just see how much of taxpayer money is being drained in this. Then what happens is, the wives and kids get loaded EBT cards. These are also food stamps, SNAP benefit, supplementary nutritional assistance program. That also gets on the same EBT card. In fact, you get one card. Everybody got a card during COVID time, because that was how the money, even middle class family, in fact, almost everybody got some amount, like either $1,500 or 3 times that, like 3 times, 1,500 after 6 months, another 1,500, another 1,500 after 6 months, and so on and so forth. So everybody has this debit card. So on these things, your food stamp data also, amount also gets added on. So now what happens is, all these kids and families, instead of going to a general purpose grocery store like Walmart has a grocery section which is pretty prevalent across the United States. Then they shop at their own family grocery shop with these cards. So you have an entity. There's a restaurant, there's a grocery store, and there is a healthcare. And this ecosystem completes itself. The money that comes in from the taxpayer gets circled in this again and again. Then what happens is, it's an interesting way to put it, all that food immediately walks 10 feet into the restaurant kitchen. Boom, free inventory for the restaurant, paid 100% by taxpayers. The grocery store reports giant losses every year, perfect tax write-off. So Uncle Sam gets screwed twice. And this is just one scam that they have unearthed. They have seen the numbers between $5 to $10 million. This is one scam, one set of stores in Columbus, Ohio. And do you want to know the average size of a Somali family? 7. And Rohingyas are giving them stiff competition, I guess. So you see how Uncle Sam's money is being dwindled. When Trump ushers in stricter SNAP standards, so that you need to prove that you actually work to get the SNAP benefits, everybody's up in arms, because all these freeloaders are not going to get anything. So you have huge challenges in the United States right now. The Biden administration has done a number. It was started during the Obama era, because that's when thousands of Somalis were brought in and settled in places like Minnesota, Ohio, I think even in other Democrat-run states. At that time, I think Ohio was a Democrat-run state. So you have the beginnings of a massive problem. Also, I'm releasing a video, I don't know if it's already released, about the state of finances of the four topmost economies in the United States. These would be California, Texas, Florida, and I'm forgetting the fourth one. So these 4 states, we are comparing those, and do look out for that, because the deficits that have been run up are just humongous. So basically, I think it's New York State. Fourth one is the New York State. So what we are seeing is, you have committed expenditure for genuine citizens of the United States, and of course some of these Somalis are also US citizens, because they got citizenship by way of asylum. A lot of fraud is going on, and I'm sure the FBI is going to unearth such frauds in other states also. So if you are wondering how did the US ran up 38 trillion in debt, these are all the reasons. By the way, on an unrelated topic, the story about Asim Munir getting a heart attack, some channels are running this, is wrong, because the sources quoted in this Islamabad Post article is a Baloch misinformation handle being run by Baloch freedom groups. This is my information. I'm not going to say anything. I don't think he has got any heart attack or anything. In fact, he even addressed a meeting today. Asim Munir is Asim Munir. So people are trying to just create some sensation and trying to make money off of that. Just be careful, viewers. Those of you who might be watching some of these videos, please be aware that this was a fake news. Okay, that's all we have. And let's see, are there any questions? I guess not. So the story about how states are faring in the United States will appear on channel 2 tomorrow. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Thank you, Sachin, for giving me that heads up. And this brings us to a close of today's program. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.